What is up, YouTube? Hope you're having a really good day today wherever you are in this world. My name is Ben, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to create coloring book interior really fast and with no prior experience. So this has been a long overdue video. On this channel I do talk a lot about coloring books, as it's been one of the most successful niches for myself, or the most successful book type for myself. Talk about, how I find coloring book niches to publish in, but I've not actually yet talked about how I create them. So this is one of the strategies that I do. This is also the quicker strategy that I do. It's a lot quicker than outsourcing everything. So this is the strategy I would recommend if you are starting with coloring books. But yeah, without too much talking, let's get into the video. If you do like it, hit the like button for me, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to see more videos like this one. And of course, if you're just starting out on KDP as well, very quickly go ahead and check out my free 2-hour tutorial on how to get started with low content publishing. The link for it should be in the top right hand side of this video. But yeah guys, without further ado, let's get started on this one. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to be using the tattoo coloring book niche. Now, I discovered this niche in a previous video that I did, and that was based on niche research for coloring books. And I basically found tattoo coloring book after searching animal coloring book and comparing those two niches. The tattoo coloring book was infinitely better than animal coloring book just by gauging the supply and demand. So as you see, there's over 2,000 results, which is a modest amount. It could be higher, but also it could be lower. So there's a moderate amount of competition. But when you see some of the ranks down here below, it's really mind-blowing for the amount of competition there is. So this one here is one of the industry leaders with a BSR 2,838, which is absolutely incredible for the amount of competition there is. And it's also a bestseller with almost 6,000 reviews. So we're going to go ahead and look at this book as it's an obvious industry leader. And we're just going to establish, what kind of coloring pages there are inside, how difficult they are, have they incorporated, patterns or backgrounds or stuff like that, or is it just a simple design? So we're just going to go and scroll down and just look. So there's only one page on display here, so it's this one. And off the bat, this one isn't all that difficult. Now, there's a few more on the back here as well. They're just single objects. This one's literally just an octopus. This one's a sand time with a skull. And this one's a complex of skull, a banner, and a knife going through the skull. So we now know that the simplicity of these designs will work well if we were to do something similar in a tattoo coloring book of our own. Just down to the fact that this book has a 4.5-star average rating, meaning that customers generally like this book. So having all that now in our minds, it's time to go ahead and create the coloring book ourselves. And to do that, firstly, we're going to go and head over to Canva, which is absolutely free to make an account. And we're just going to go ahead and create a design. And our book is going to be 8.5 by 11 and including bleed, meaning that we want to make it 8.625 inches by 11.25 inches. So we're going to create a new design, and we've got this now blank canvas to use. Now each blank canvas represents a page in our coloring book, and now it's time to fill the graphics in. So for that, we're going to go and head over to Creative Fabrica here. So if you don't already know, Creative Fabrica is a website with a huge ton of graphic resources for people that publish on KDP. I've used them myself for quite a while now, and essentially everything you see on here you can use for commercial purposes, and they're doing a promotion at the moment where you can try it for just $1 for the first month. After that is $19 a month, which is still a 35% discount from their normal subscription rate. So this is the website I'm going to be using in this video. If you do want in, it's in the link in the description below, so you can try it yourself there. But essentially we're going to go back onto Creative Fabrica, and we're going to be finding tattoo graphics to be using for our tattoo coloring book. So one of the ways we can find these tattoo coloring pages is by going to this graphics tab just here in the top left hand corner, and then scrolling down until you see coloring books adults. There's also KDP interiors that we can check, but for this one we're going to click coloring book adults, and once you click on here you can see a massive plethora of all these coloring pages that are free for commercial use. Now, one of the rules that I've always had with Creative Fabrica is that I want to modify something before publishing it on KDP. So if they give me a whole interior for a coloring book that says ready to print for KDP, I'm going to be modifying it in at least some way before putting it onto KDP, because otherwise the chances are that my work is going to be identical to someone else's. So for example, if I click on just an example page here, look, 100 plus mandala coloring pages, you can see that I have the commercial and full print on demand usage rights for this, and it includes the individual files of the coloring pages, so I can download them one at a time, but it also gives me the PDF file that says ready for print. So in theory I could download it and then upload it as the interior onto KDP, and that's the thing I'm not going to be doing, because other people are going to be doing that as well. So downloading the single files and then arranging them yourselves, adding things to the downloaded files, and that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. So from the top here, we're just going to type in tattoo. We're just going to be heading over to this little graphics thing there, and we're going to do coloring pages and books for adults. And as you can see, you get a whole range here of single page downloads. Now this is absolutely fine because we're going to be putting them onto Canva and then arranging them and modifying them a bit before publishing them. So let's go ahead and download some images that look like tattoo images. So we're going to find one that's going to be nice and not too difficult to color in. Maybe some of these are a little bit too complex, as you can see with the thick black lines, making it look very concentrated there. We're just going to scroll to this one, for example, that looks a little bit lighter to color. And sure enough, it does look like a very nice tattoo image to be coloring in. So we're just going to go ahead and download that one. So now that's fully downloaded, you're going to get this zip file down here that you're just going to want to click on, and it will just automatically expand for you so that you can access the PNG files inside. So let's just wait for my computer to do that. I believe it's being a little bit slow. So once your computer has fully unzipped the file, you should see a folder containing all the assets you just downloaded. So if we open up the folder we just downloaded, you can see that they've included a colored version up here, a half colored version here, and the coloring page version here. So there's 3 files. This file here at the bottom, EPS, is actually there as a vector file. So if you have vector editing software, we can actually edit this coloring page, which I will talk about in a second using Adobe Illustrator. But for now, we're just going to take either the JPEG or the PNG. I normally just take the PNG, and we're just going to go ahead and copy that and paste it into our Canva. Now, literally, it is just as simple as that. Once that's pasted in, we can just adjust the size so that it fits the majority of the page. What I also like to do is add a border in there to further differentiate my work to others. Obviously, this isn't necessary. You don't have to do it, but I just like doing it. So we can take a border like this and just stretch it out, for example. Move it around so that it's fairly center. And there you go, you have yourself a tattoo coloring page. Now its orientation on Canva is going to be on every odd page, and every even page is going to be blank. So if you imagine a book, the coloring page is on the right hand side of the book, and the left hand side of the book is going to be blank. So if your customer is coloring in these coloring books with felt tip pens or anything that could bleed through the page, it's not going to bleed onto the next image. So that's the orientation. Every odd page has your coloring page on it, and every even page is blank. So we're just going to continue in this fashion. We're just going to copy and paste this border and find ourselves another tattoo coloring page to put in there. So let's go back onto Creative Fabrica and just keep scrolling until we find another nice tattoo that could fit our criteria. Now remember, we don't want it to be too complex for our customer. As you saw, the bestseller on Amazon wasn't too complex. This one here is looking very nice, so a nice lion coloring page here. And we're going to just again download that one, and just like clockwork, guys, we're going to go back and then repeat this step until we have between 30 to 50 coloring pages. So I'm going to do it for 3 of these coloring pages just to spare you guys a little bit of time. Hopefully this is a demonstration of how quick it can be done. So I'm just going to do everything simultaneously. Open that zip file there, copy and paste the PNG file across, and that's sitting in there nicely. And we're going to go to page 5, unzip the tangled head of sheep, and copy and paste that across into our work. And there we have it. So we got 3 coloring pages already on Canva. I'm going to show you guys as well another way that I do use Creative Fabrica to find extra coloring pages that not many people do, just because it's a little bit more tricky. And so hopefully this has demonstrated how quickly you can get a coloring book up using Creative Fabrica. I'm going to be also showing you another way you can get coloring pages off Creative Fabrica, but just for a heads up, it does require vector editing software. So a free example of this is Inkscape. I've never used Inkscape, so I'm going to be using Adobe Illustrator, which I pay around 30 euros a month for, and that gives me Photoshop, Illustrator, and everything within that package. So what we're going to do is head back to Creative Fabrica, and we're going to again type in tattoo in this search bar here, and very coincidentally the first one here is a perfect example of what I'm going to be showing you, which is this colored image here. So it isn't a coloring page because it's already colored, but what we can do is turn it into a coloring page if it comes with an EPS file, an AI file, or an SVG file. So what I'm going to do is download this one and show you what we can do with it within Adobe Illustrator. So again, just open that zip up, just click on it here, and we're just going to open the AI file. The EPS file is also fine, but the AI file, we'll just open it straight onto Illustrator here. So this is Adobe Illustrator. So now we have the vector file within Adobe Illustrator. All we're going to do is literally highlight everything. Control A if you're on Windows, Command A if you're on Mac. And once everything is highlighted, you get this panel on the right here, which says Properties. And if I just move my face here, you can see on Appearance, there's Fill ? And Stroke ? So for all the images that we're going to do, we're literally just going to change this to white for the fill. And we're just going to change the stroke to black. Now for this one, I think we need to increase the stroke so it's around 3 points so we can fully see the lines. But if I just take that off now, we now literally have a coloring page from what was a colored vector. So if you have a colored vector, but there's no coloring page for it, and you have vector editing software like Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape, then you can do this as well. And I'll just show you that in the coloring book. So if I export as a PNG, put that in the downloads there, exports, just leave those as is. Now once this has exported, we're just going to go ahead over to Canva. Use page number 7 there just to really get that in. So copy again, paste. With my face, we'll just make this image a little bit larger so that fits perfectly in the borders. Perfect, so we've literally got another coloring page here from what was originally a colored work. So if we go back onto Creative Fabrica, you can see there's many of these. So if we scroll down from our search term here and just keep on scrolling, if we highlight graphics there and then illustrations, you'll notice that there are plenty more graphics for us to do that with. So for example, there's this dragon here, which is again AI EPS file. There's a flower that seems to be bleeding, AI EPS file. So we can do the exact same for these images as well. So with vector editing software like Adobe Illustrator, it's not necessary to have, but it is a good help. And I had it when I started out in publishing, and it gave me more access to coloring pages. So I'll leave a link for it in the description below if you're interested in getting the Adobe Creative Cloud. But like I say, it's not essential. You can get by with the coloring pages on Creative Fabrica. So having said pretty much all that, I think that has summed up everything I wanted to say in this video. We got a nice looking coloring book here in a short amount of time. This is one of the methods that I use to create the coloring books. The other one is outsourcing on Fiverr and to other virtual assistants to help create the books for me. With this is one of the ways that I create and scale coloring books. So that's going to be talked about in another video. Hopefully this one has been insightful. If you do have any questions regarding anything, then hit up the comment section below. If you haven't liked this video already, be sure to like it. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.